Welcome back to Million Dollar Media. I'm your host today because I took over. Joelle.
Oh, I'm here, James. I didn't know I was going second, and Joelle just pointed at me. So hey,
I'm also here, and I'm Kerstie.
I'm here. It's Willow.
Awesome. So we've got like a whole group of us. We have actually seen the movie, and we also have Max just kind of like hanging out in the nebulous nowhere, maybe asking questions because he doesn't know what's going on.
I've only seen the 1930s original Wizard of Oz.
So Max, you have not seen even the first Wicked?
The only thing of Wicked I have seen is the video clips I've had to insert in the first video that you and Joelle did, which is a great video actually, and maybe the trailers that I've seen for this movie in front of other movies this year. That's the only bit of Wicked I've ever seen. I've never even listened to the soundtrack, this version, or the Broadway version. I guess the only other real exposure to Wicked I've had is through the memes that have come out of this movie.
It's so sad.
Mm-hmm.
I never said I lived a happy life.
You never claimed to be a happy man. All right,
If
so
I only
with
had a
that-
heart.
Oh my god. So close and yet so far. Well, I suppose that evens it out because James has never seen The Wizard of Oz. So
What?
Yikes. You really had to call me out like that.
I did. I'm sorry. People had to know so that they can properly gauge your reaction to things.
Okay, but I know the story of Wizard of Oz, right? Like it's not like I don't know anything that's going on or any of the references from the movie. I know the story of Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, you just haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I never claimed you didn't know what was going on, like Max. So I think that with that, we should get into it. The last movie, we ended at intermission, if you're familiar at all with the musical. We end with the really high note with Defying Gravity, and then we pick up with Wicked for Good with the No One Warns the Wicked, Thank Goodness combination. So personally, I think that one is a fantastic kind of like check-in point and being like, oh yeah, so this is what we know about these characters at this point. We start to see Galinda's parts in a little bit different light. We see Yarrow in like, okay, is he really on board with this or not? And then that gets answered. In my opinion, it's a really strong opening to the second part of the story.
I don't know if it's explicitly said in the play, but between part 1 and part 2 of the movie, there's a 5-year time gap. And so you can see in the movie how from part 1 leading into part 2, this is just kind of the life that they've been leading on autopilot for a while, at least for Fiyero and Glinda, where everything is just as Madame Morrible and Oz have decreed it, and that's the lives they're going to lead.
That's interesting. I didn't know that. And watching the movie, it kind of felt like a month gap or like half a year. I didn't feel like a lot happened between the first and second movie. The only thing that I saw really happen was that the Yellow Brick Road was starting to be built, but the speed at which it was finished in the movie, in my head, said like, well, they'd only been working on it for like half a year or something like that. So I did not notice that time.
Mm-hmm. There were like hints to it, but it wasn't super explicit. Like there was major progress to the road in that, like in the first part, we only see it introduced as an idea, and then we see it halfway done at the beginning of this film. So, something that really caught my eye and this transition from musical to movie was how much more they were able to emphasize the relationships and the role of animals and the treatment of them. That's something that is a major point in Elphaba's development in the book, but we lose a lot of that in the musical. And so I'm glad that they were able to add a lot of that back in an appropriate world-building way. So, yeah.
That was my favorite part of the entire, of both movies. There were things that people could miss if they weren't in love with the musical, if they just watched the stage version of it. Like, one of my favorite songs is Something Bad Happening in Oz. Like, it's fun to watch on stage, but it just made a lot more sense seeing it in the movie.
Agreed. That was one of the things that I loved about part 1, was how they made that, shift in scenery and how Dr. Dillamond has this whole community of other animals that he is relating to and worried about. because this is directly impacting them and their way of life. And you miss a lot of that in the musical because there just isn't time.
It's very interesting that in Poland, the musical is done as a Nazi Germany musical. The clothing choices, stylistically, even armbands in favor of the wizard.
Really?
Yeah.
That's insane.
Well, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, I was watching, especially in the first movie, I was watching it going, oh, so this is a commentary on World War II.
And I don't think it was necessarily meant to be that way, but it has become very obvious in that way.
It made a lot
know
of sense when Bob
like-
was trying to get on the train, like in that one scene
Yep.
in the second movie.
Yeah, I'm not sure if the Wicked play was ever originally meant to be a commentary on World War II, but it definitely has become one.
That's fair.
I loved how the movie has displayed the erosion of rights and humanity as like, oh yeah, today it's just affecting the animals, and yeah, that's not right, but people weren't standing up for it very much, they weren't really noticing, and then it started affecting the Munchkins too. And so it's just sort of progressing at this rate, and no one's actually like taking control of it, except for Madame Morrible, who we see like manufacturing the whole narrative and all the propaganda and essentially controlling all of Oz in the process.
I agree. I think one of the things that I love about that is that, like, I mean, the Munchkins kind of just forget. There's part of me that's like, well, they should know and stuff. And there's another part of me that's like, no, that's kind of the point. Like, the propaganda was so well done, and the story was so well written, the narrative that Morble, created, that even the Munchkins forgot the oppression that they were under. And I think it's really interesting. It doesn't feel like it was accidental from the writer of the play. It feels like it was very intentional that, like, the Munchkins had rights stripped away, and they just forgot that.
I think with the element of the Munchkins, something I really liked in the transition to movie from play is, now to be fair, it's been a good 8 years since I've seen the play. But I don't remember in the play being super obvious about Nessa's role in the second half of the play or the movie, and how she became considered Wicked also. If I remember correctly, it was a little bit more subtle or glassed over, but in the movie they expanded on it and showed how she was also taking steps in her position as mayor of Munchkinland, to do similar actions and roles as Madame Morrible was doing, and be painted in both a similar light to Madame Morrible, but then as like leader people can trust, but then on the flip side be painted in a similar light to Elphaba as a witch who needed to be stopped.
It was portrayed so much better in the movie. I agree. I saw Wicked maybe 2 years ago now.
Okay.
And I think even her anger and like the reason that she did what she did to Bach, because like it's portrayed a lot better musically in the musical on stage, obviously. But like her anger and her reason why, it was better depicted in the movie. I feel like the audience could resonate with Nessa's hatefulness a lot more in the movie. In the play, she just seems, or in the musical on stage, it just seems like she's more of a villain, and it's kind of hard to get that understanding of her feelings.
It's harder for her to be seen in a sympathetic light.
Yes.
I think.
Also, if you were just taking the sympathy out of her, in the play, it's just in general a little bit more one note. She's definitely not nearly as main of a character as she is in the movie. And so whether you're looking for a sympathetic angle or just to understand what was going on for the people in Oz, I feel like the movie played that out a little bit better, for sure.
Yeah. I think that was definitely built up because they had that time to have those little vignettes of her with the group, or just her and Bach. We get more of a sense of this is who she is, and that makes us more able to sympathize with what she becomes. And I really appreciate that, because it's like reinforcing that message that any of us could become the villain. And it's something that we all need to reckon with.
We all can be Hitler.
You're going to get quoted on that one. Be careful.
Don't make me animate that.
Please do. That would be swell.
Yeah, I Also really appreciated that she got more of a theme and a motif in the movies than she's typically given in the musical, or at least what I've seen. Or remember, it's been a hot minute since I've seen the musical. It was just very cool that she got to have this, oh, we're seeing her kind of like claim this about herself and realize, yeah, no, I'm who I am at this point, and what's the point in changing? Yeah, James, any thoughts on Nessa and her character?
I don't think much to add. I kind of appreciated that both Nessa and Bach were in the wrong. It wasn't just he was totally innocent and she was a villain, and it wasn't totally that she was innocent and he was a villain.
Mhm.
It was like he definitely gave her the wrong impression for apparently 5 years. I didn't realize it was so long.
Yeah, which
But
makes it worse, I think.
It does. It makes it a lot
It's so
worse.
much worse.
And you just kind of think about that and you're like, that's really not cool.
Mhm.
But her response to that also really not cool.
Mhm.
And so I guess I appreciate that it was a little bit more dynamic than just, oh, she's bad and he's nice and she turned him into the tin can, or the
Yeah.
opposite.
Mhm.
Mhm.
The only other thing that I can think about Nessa, this is a little bit more of a transition. Sorry, so
That's fine.
okay. I struggled a little bit with the reason that Elphaba had an issue with the whole shoe thing is because it belonged to her sister. I understand that. It kind of felt like they took that aspect of Wizard of Oz and were like, well, we have to have a reason that she's getting the shoes back and that she's angry at Dorothy, and so that's that. The shoes didn't seem like a significant enough reason for her to be furious at Dorothy.
I mean, they were also her mother's. So, like, those are family heirloom shoes that Glinda just gave away to the first random child who dropped on her sister. This isn't like some trial by combat sort of thing, okay? You don't just drop a house on someone and then get their shoes.
I think that's exactly how that works.
That's how that works. Yes, Elphaba did not seem like the type of person that would escalate the situation to such an extent over that pair of shoes. Now, you know, mad at Glinda and mad at Dorothy a little bit, sure. It felt a little bit out of character for Elphaba. She feels a little bit more level-headed than that, and she feels a little bit more like, okay, that's a sucky thing that you did, but all these other sucky things have been happening to me. That's really kind of the least of my concern, or towards the bottom, maybe. And so it in my opinion, it kind of felt like it strayed from Alphaba's character a little bit, and it was in there just to give a reason why the shoes were a big deal in Wizard of Oz.
I hear you, and I understand, but I also see it as like this is the final straw. She's been on the run for 5 years, and now, in a ploy to catch her, they killed her sister and gave her shoes away to this random girl.
Well, and it could be to your point, or I guess it isn't exactly your point, but she could be conflating. They just killed her sister with the shoes,
Mhm.
and so it's less about the shoes and more about the injustice that's being done. Okay, all right,
And
yeah,
that's kind of how I
can-
saw it.
Yeah, I can see that.
Was that it was more about the injustice of it and like the indecency of it.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
let's be real here. Linda, what on earth are you on about? Why would that be something that you would do? Taking someone's shoes and being like, oh yeah, these will fix the problem. Go walk that way.
When there's a perfectly good train.
When there's a perfectly good train too. I'm like, what on earth? The infrastructure in Wicked is better than The Wizard of Oz, apparently.
It had
You
a
don't
couple
talk
of
about
years to
Yeah,
work towards that.
yeah. Maybe by that point, the trains in Munchkinland had been shut down entirely.
Oh, maybe. That's a possibility.
I don't know. I'm just throwing out ideas.
I think Glinda just forgot about the trains. Let's be honest.
I would not be surprised, to
Mhm.
be completely honest with you.
I mean, you've got a bubble. I mean,
Yeah.
So bubble preoccupied. I
Mhm.
did want to jump back to Nessa specifically for one thing. Is the actress they got, Marissa Bodie, I think, is a disabled actress who is a full-time wheelchair user.
Oh,
And
really?
so I really enjoyed that. That's what they sought out for the role, but B, and Willow, you can tell me if I'm wrong because you've seen the play more recently than I, but think that in the play, when she was expelled, she started walking. And in the movie, she started flying. And I think that is
Right.
really nice overall to show that even if you can read the spells and even if you understand what they might be doing, it seems like all of the spells that have been cast in the movie, at least, you're not getting exactly what you think or you're trying to get. And there's always some secret underlayer to the magic that isn't what you want. And so if she asked Elphaba to make her walk, and instead in the movie she flew. So I think that's really interesting, and from a storytelling, but also from a casting department, that they didn't make her walk and then they made it work for the movie itself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think it was the most powerful things a part of like the whole Wicked press tour. People's reactions to the actor that played Nessa were absolutely outrageous on like Twitter and TikTok.
Oh,
some
I
of
didn't
those
see
were-
those.
Oh, it was horrible. A lot of people who didn't know that she was actually disabled in real life made comments like the reason that her character ended up in a wheelchair is because she sucked, like different things like that. And it kind of was insensitive to the disabled community. So I think she's breaking barriers in ways that are so amazing for Hollywood. And she's also from Wisconsin, so yay.
We loved that.
100%. So I think that at this point, we got a mark for spoilers. If you haven't seen it already, I'm so sorry. That's on you. Max. So,
I mean, I've seen The Wizard of Oz. I have an idea what happens. Kind of.
really, please explain the plot of Wicked to us, Max.
Oh, this should be good.
Wait, what?
This is a trap. This is a trap. Don't do it.
Max, you should do it.
Put the shovel down.
It's The Wizard of Oz. Like, you know, the witch, for some reason, has a bucket of water, even though that's her main weakness, in her place. And, you know, like, she starts to burn the scarecrow. I think Dorothy or someone throws water on him, accidentally splashing her. And then, you know, she's like, I'm melting. And then, and then for some reason, Glinda the entire time could have just told Dorothy, hey, click your heels a couple times. But she didn't, so thanks, Glinda. It sent me on this manhunt for this one witch. Oh, and the wizard's bullshit.
You really need to see Wicked, Max.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, you kind of butchered it. Actually, worse than I thought you were going to. Wasn't it so sad when Dorothy threw the bucket of water on Elphaba and then she actually dissolved into nothing, and then everybody lived happily ever after?
So sad.
That was really
So
depressing.
bad. What a terrible ending to a film.
Yeah, and the wizard gets away with everything, and it's awful.
And I don't know how this play has been running for 20 years with such a sad ending.
Yeah,
Mhm.
all the animals die.
Mm-hmm.
It's bad.
Something really bad.
Something really wicked.
Hated that. So
I just got bullied by a bunch of theater majors. This is so sad.
Bunch of theater majors.
I don't know if any of us majored in theater. I'm gonna be real
I'm
with
the
you.
only one, actually.
Really, Willow?
Yeah, musical theater was my major.
Very cool.
You weren't even the one that was bullying Max. Who was the rest of us?
I'm just sitting and watching him, not intervening. He deserves it.
So we have clearance from the theater major
Mm-hmm.
to both bully and
Absolutely.
be correct.
Mhm.
Excellent.
Yeah. Sorry, Max.
I'm like, yeah, no, I don't have a heart anymore. Thank you.
So you can take the bullying. Got it.
You have to
Um,
see it, Max.
On that note, there is one character in this entire production that I hate, and that is Bach. I'm so sorry. Bach was in the wrong at almost every turn.
I actually empathize with Bach in the movie.
In the
He
movie,
didn't
I
like
could-
Nesta, and he just wanted to go home.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, he could have just been honest in the first place, or in the ensuing 5 years. But that was his prerogative.
True. He was kind of
He
a
chose to
pushover.
move on. So I think that feeling like the past 5+ years of your life have been a lie, and this guy that you thought you were going to spend your life with actually was in love with someone else the entire time. Yeah, that would make some people crash out.
Also was not
She was
called,
justified in her actions.
Mm-hmm.
he was not called Bick nearly enough in the movie. He was called Bick more in the play, like Linda.
Like the pen.
Yup.
I believe the actresses were a great choice. It was very believable. I feel like they had chemistry, which was amazingly displayed in the second part. Like, Nessa seemed like she really needed Elphaba to help her, but she never really wanted the help. Like, that was portrayed a lot better in the movie than it was in the stage version of the musical. I think Elphaba's portrayal was like a stronger. Everything just seemed so real. Like, it was relatable to the audience, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it really did feel like once Elphaba had kind of owned her power and was in control of it, Nessa didn't really want her so much as what she could do for her. So,
I totally agree. My favorite scene of all time is when, in both movies combined, is when, I was gonna say Cynthia, but when Elphaba meets Nessa again after a while, because that part really steers the entire second part of Wicked. And in the play, you miss so much of that. You miss like the conversations and Nessa's sadness over Elphaba going away after their dad's death. I think it was really needed. The second movie was a lot sadder just because of that. I feel like the musical on stage doesn't really portray it that well. What did
I
you guys
think
think about the scene in which Bach was actually turned into the Tin Man?
the symbolism, so good.
Yeah.
The set, like her office, beautiful, gorgeous.
I
Loved the
want to
interior design.
live there.
Same. I loved the continuation of the glass or the mirror cracking whenever Elphaba shows up, and I think that that is a kind of interesting nod to her character and how she doesn't want to be fooled. She wants the truth. That's kind of how I interpret that, but that is
I totally forgot that was a thing. That was actually really, really cool that they did that.
James. Any thoughts on the interaction between characters, actors?
I don't know what else to add. I mean, I thought it was real. It felt real between each character. You know, Elphaba and Belinda, the chemistry there, I thought was really good. I think they did a good job portraying, almost sisters who are on opposite sides, and have to deal with that. I thought Ferrero Rocher, what's his name?
Piero.
Piero. Prince
Ferrero
Fiero.
Rocher is crazy. What?
I thought Prince Fiero's interaction between each character and him, like he's a prince, he's a captain of the guard. This is what he has to do. This is what he's meant to do. This is what he's doing, and then having to kind of get himself out of that and realize, no, this is wrong. I'm doing the wrong thing. I'm marrying the wrong person. All of this is wrong. And breaking out of that, and his interaction with with Glinda, Elphaba, and the other guards, I thought was really good. Because it seems like he has rapport with the guards, and it's a minor thing, but I thought it added some good detail to his character and to the realism of the acting. I thought the acting and the character dynamics were kind of spot on in the movie. I mean, and even like oh my gosh, how am I forgetting everyone? But the wizard,
Goldblum.
Jeff Goldblum. Thank you, Goldblum. I thought did a great job being the wizard and kind of being out there and bizarre in his relation to everyone. So I thought he did a great job too.
He really had the creepy uncle vibes that the wizard is meant to have.
He did.
He did, but I struggle with Jeff Goldblum in any of his more recent roles because I feel like he's just doing that in everything. And so I see that as less of a massive acting role and just like his own personality that he brings to every role is just completely typecast for the Wizard of Oz.
I think that's fair, and I think there is a level of that in Wicked, but he's typecast for it, so it works.
It works. No, I agree that it completely works. I just struggle seeing him in things now because when I see him, I don't see a character. I just see Jeff Goldblum.
That is so fair.
I don't make a habit of watching Jeff Goldblum, but like
Every night.
each their own, I suppose.
Good for you, James. Just watch that up right before you go to bed.
Yeah, I keep his.
Sure, above our bed.
It's true. It's true. I listened to his Netflix special while I go to sleep. The one about shoes. He has a whole Netflix special where he goes around talking about shoes for episodes, and I listen to that on repeat at night. It helps me sleep.
That's
And James, you're just watching the shoe episode over and over?
Well, I fall asleep before I get to the next one.
Okay, so another thing that I really loved about these movies was the sets and like the world building that we got from them. The stage in Munchkinland and Nessa's office.
Gorgeous.
How they did the wizard's like antechamber was fantastic, and like kind of what behind the scenes looks like, because we always wonder. It was just so good. Oh, sorry. I just remembered one of the scenes that I really, really, really wanted to talk about. It was really cool how they did the split between the wedding and the discovery of the animals, where we get like the flash from Belinda with everything bright and white and beautiful, down to Elphaba, kind of implied below her, walking into this room and just seeing cages lining the walls. and then flashback and we see Fiero waiting at the altar, and then back to seeing Dr. Dillamond in a cage. It was just so good. And I think that would be impossible to get from the musical experience, but it really did add to the impact of the moment, just having that juxtaposition in the movie.
How was that done in the play?
I cannot remember. Willow, do you remember?
I actually don't remember that either. What the heck?
It's definitely a lot more glossed over and done one at a time. You don't have that. Again, I also do not remember very well either, to preface, but it's still a big deal and it's still very important plot moments within the story, but it doesn't feel like it has nearly as much of a punch. And I think that she's right, that it is because they cut it together for the movie itself. From my memory, in the play, they're kind of just, this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened, and
Gotcha.
continue on as plays do.
Yeah, I think that it went from Elphaba's discovery of the animals to her crashing the wedding. And we didn't get to see, like, the buildup of Glinda walking down the aisle. I think that's how that went.
I'm not gonna lie, and as I said, it's been like at least 8 years. I don't even remember a wedding in the play.
I only remember it in the context that it got chopped off.
Okay, which makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go rewatch the play again.
Yeah.
I need to talk about Ozda's ballroom in terms of set and storytelling.
It's in part 1, so this isn't spoiler for part 2. Go for it, Kerstie.
They swankified it.
They sure did.
They swankified it too much. So obviously this is in the book, which we're not actually properly discussing. In the book, it was essentially a strip club. And then in the play, it's more of this really dark, gritty, underground, closer to a jazz club, and it's where outcasts are known to gather. And then and with the added element of animals are playing instruments, which is slowly, as time goes on, becoming more and more illegal. But then in the movie, it was prom, essentially. It was very prom-esque.
It does seem very prom-esque.
They just keep every iteration, they keep swankifying it more. And I feel like having it a gritty outcast club would have done more for the story of what they were going with the elongation they've done in the movie than making it a really nice upscale club.
And in my head, because I haven't seen the play, right? I also haven't read the book, specifically because there's strip clubs and other things in there. I don't know.
Fair enough, me too.
But I haven't seen the play. It makes more sense in my head that it's very like spiky and upbeat and fun because that's somewhere that Ferrero
Rocher.
Fabiano.
No, it's worse than Ferrero Rocher.
Prince Fiero. It's somewhere that Fiero and Glinda would go to dance at. In my head, like something gritty and darker outcast place is specifically a place that those two would avoid.
So I understand that. My understanding and how I've always viewed it has been a darker place is going to be where college students sneak off campus to go.
Fair.
But also B, I've always taken it as really nice foreshadowing because it was Fiero's decision to Fiero's overall arc and his turnaround later.
Oh, so his preference for like
that darker, that grittier, animal based,
subversive.
Yes, thank you. Subversiveness that is underneath all of the swankified prince-ness that was going on at the beginning.
Okay, yeah, I can get behind that.
Okay. The rebel tendencies that
were inherent from the get-go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I see it.
I feel like I understand the swankifying, but I feel like this by swankifying it to a really nice upscale place has taken away a little bit of what we can see within Fiero's overall story.
Okay.
I hear you. Counterpoint. He did ask Linda for the most swankified place in town.
I don't think she should have known what the most swankified place in town was. She just arrived.
I think that she was reading travel magazines, and that is canon to me.
I think she started reading travel magazines when she was 7.
Canon.
Oh yeah. It's so that she always knows the best places to be.
Canon. You had mentioned world building, and I think there's one kind of gripe that I took with the second half of Wicked. And that is the animal's place in it. Because in the first one, it felt like Dr. Dillamond kind of starting some sort of rebellion, some sort of like, anti-fascist book club, something like that, right? And we don't get to see the animals very much. I mean, we see them like leaving, and she's like, rebel with me, and then the lion's like, no, don't do it. But that's pretty much it. And I've been proven wrong every time I say like, well, in my opinion, right? But from my perspective, I think the animals would have or should have fought back a little bit more. And I wish we would have seen some sort of underground rebellion from the animals that came out of Dr. Dillamond's secret meetings. I kind of wish that would have been more a part of it in the second half. 'Cause it just kind of felt like, well, then why was he meeting? You know what I mean?
Is that rhetorical?
No.
Okay. So it was them gathering to figure out what their wider strategy could be, right? And there were
Yeah.
enough voices saying that there's not anything that we can do, that the remaining animals did not have enough numbers to do much good on their own without being like completely routed by the wizard's forces, right? Because like they have essentially everybody else on their side are complacent because they have manufactured the idea that the animals are to blame for all their problems. Like the very classic fascist thing to do.
But I
It's
just when we see rebellions and when we see things in the real world, it isn't one person that fix it. It's a group of
Mhm.
people. It's a movement. It's a coming together of literature and art, Tchaikovsky in Russia or the whoever does that song
Ciao.
Bella Ciao, thank you, in Italy. I mean, it's a collection of a lot of different aspects of humanity coming together against the main force. I don't know if I'm describing this well. I just it kind of felt a little unrealistic that one person, one plan, one
Mhm.
strategy was able to fix everything.
Okay, I hear you. It wasn't one strategy. That's kind of what we get at the end, is that she gives up so that the cause can win.
But nobody else really does anything besides her.
Glinda, we see her get rid of the wizard, get rid of Madame Horrible,
Okay, that's true.
get the love of the people and the support of everybody, so that everybody's like with her,
Mhm,
and then she normalizes animals being a part of Oz.
mhm. Okay, I guess.
So we see a shifting of strategy there. I definitely agree with you that, like, in real life examples of rebellions, it is never one person, one plan doing one thing to overturn every harm that's been done.
Yeah.
And that is covered a lot in the book. Alphaba is just part of a resistance with the animals. She just happens to be the face of it, kind of like a Katniss.
Sure.
Where she is a figurehead, she is very visible, she's there, but she's really not the force behind it.
Yes.
It's just that she's a reflection of it.
Yeah. And I guess that's kind of more what I wish we would have seen in the second part.
Fair. That's fair.
I think one element of you wish you would have seen that more in the second part is that we've already made the establishment that there's a lot of fascism and World War II-esque elements going on in the story. And I'm noticing some parallels to like the musical Cabaret, which is set inside a nightclub during the rise of World War II. Early 30s, mid 30s, I think is when it's set. And the whole element of that play is the complacency of the masses. And so I'm seeing a lot of that in Wicked also, where
Mhm.
there's a lot of complacency of the masses, which allowed for these things to happen.
Oh, yeah.
100%. Willow, any thoughts?
No, I think you guys pretty much, it makes sense what you guys have said. I honestly think they did the best that they could with part 2. I was talking to some other theater majors, and we all just agreed that part 2 in general kind of sucks. Like, even in the stage version, compared to part 1, which is just so powerful. Every song is awesome. The build of it is amazing. Like, Defying Gravity being at the end is like perfect. The only disappointment with part 2 is that I feel like, and we could talk about this more so when we get to the music aspect, but I feel like they could have done a lot more with the song for good than they did. They tried to keep it simple, and I feel like it was very underwhelming. But I think they also did a good job at building on each character's emotion a lot more. Portraying like the little moments in film is a lot easier than it is in the stage play, because I feel like when I watched it on stage, part 2 happened and I was kind of like, why am I here? So like, what is what's the reason for this? But we get to see more sides of the characters in part 2 of the movie that people were kind of creating fan art and things about after the first one came out.
She's
Yeah.
giving her thoughts on the movie.
Definitely.
I'm glad that Willow said it because I didn't really want to say it. I thought the second part was a lot weaker than the first. Not that it was bad. I thought it was still a good movie, but I just think the first part had such a great like momentum and build up, and all the songs are really good and powerful. And I just was not as interested in part two. It's good. I just not as interested as I was in the first part.
Yeah. I feel like the whole world tried to gaslight me into thinking otherwise as well. And I was like, no, I don't.
Thank you.
To be fair, counterpoints. Number 1, we're good. Number 2, no good deed.
Amazing.
Slaps
Amazing.
so hard. We'll get into it in the music review that is going to be coming out right with this video, hopefully. So go check that out. And we'll get into it. But I really like part 2, but I can see how people need part 2 more immediately, like with the musical, and having this year-long gap in between. Because with the musical, you can kind of roll from part 1 into part 2 without much gap in there. I think that helps carry the musical forward, is that you've already established all this momentum, and then you see it unraveling in the second part.
I agree. I guess from that point, it makes sense.
Ooh, how are we feeling about the Cowardly Lion and how that character is portrayed in this?
In the stage play, I completely missed that. Like, was it just me, or did they not even focus on the lion at all in the on stage version?
They have him in the first part when they rescue him, and then they have him in the second part show up with the March of the Witch Hunters.
Wild.
Yeah, I think that that's kind of the only place that they have him for the stage play.
I like what they did in the movie, honestly. Like, it made a lot of sense. I feel like it was a great connection for those who have come primarily from The Wizard of Oz rather than, like, the stage version of Wicked, because then they can make that connection, like, oh, it's the Cowardly Lion.
I think that I agree. I find it difficult with him and Bach, how Elphaba has always been the villain, and she's never changed, right? And then, like, he never actually saw her in a different light, like Fiero or Glinda. And that's kind of revealed in how he treats her when she shows up at Nessa's place. Because, like, that's still her sister. He automatically jumps to the worst possible conclusions. But I'm talking about the Cowardly Lion, so let me get back on that train. Cowardly
Yeah,
Lion.
you really don't like Bach.
Bach Hater Fan Club 101.
Yeah, I'm gonna make t-shirts.
Is it because it's Ethan Slater?
No, it's
That's
not.
what first.
Believe it or not, it's not because it's Ethan Slater. I don't like him.
Ethan Slater doesn't help his case.
Certainly.
I
It's
will
not
say the
because-
memes are really funny.
Is there something I'm not on social media? Is there something wrong with Ethan Slater?
That's a whole nother video.
Oh great, okay. I'm gonna take that as a yes.
But the Cowardly Lion, I think they really played into this character had a really traumatic event when they were very young, and so they don't actually understand the full context of what happened. And because of that, it shapes their entire life. Yes, it makes me hurt for him, but on the other hand, I'm like, she tried to explain and you just wouldn't even listen. So, yeah.
I always took it with almost the same direction. I think just a slight veer off of what you said, of not that something happened that was traumatic when he was young and therefore he doesn't fully understand. I always took the lion as something traumatic happened when he was young, and it was in the long run easier for him to play the victim for the rest of his life and live in that.
Absolutely.
And take any responsibility within the world and what was going on.
I like it. I like that take, especially paired with it's coming directly after the added song, No Place Like Home.
Mm-hmm. And then his choosing, while being cowardly, but agreeing to go on the quest against Elphaba.
And it's like, bro, would you make up your mind already? Anyways.
And I know plenty of people in real life who have something bad has happened, which is awful, and can sympathize for that, but then they've decided to live in that for the rest of their life.
I also think that it's interesting that they hold him up as like a victim of Elphaba's, even though he's an animal. And by this point, animals are pretty much completely discredited. They're silenced.
I didn't think about
everything. But they're still making him like kind of an object of this propaganda against her.
Mm-hmm.
That's so interesting.
Yeah. Another piece that I thought was really interesting is how even Elphaba didn't know that Fiora was actually out there searching for her to like get out of this. I thought that that was an interesting piece of like what's truth and what is simply like the pushed belief. Yeah. Yes, I am jumping around between characters, but that sort of happens. Stream of consciousness. Whatever happens, happens.
Can we talk about the hair and makeup for this movie for like 2 seconds?
Not yet. What were your thoughts?
Okay, so there was online discourse about their choice for Glinda's eyelashes. They were strip lashes, horrible decision, very distracting. Though Elphaba's costuming was absolutely perfect. I feel like the costuming for the show is so awesome.
It was so good.
Insane. Like hair, makeup, everything is great except for Ariana's lashes. That's my complaint.
Yeah.
Man, I totally agree.
Same. Absolutely same.
Are there Oscars for hair and makeup?
I think so.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
there are.
When are the Oscars? Because
March.
that's something that a person should know.
That I
Scarecrow's makeup job in this was ridiculous.
I thought that was mostly CGI.
I was told it was not.
It's real.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Those are, and it's so clean, especially even around the eyes and everything. It was gorgeous. I feel like I didn't notice it in the movie nearly as much until I saw the stills, the shots that they released about his makeup.
We're looking at pictures right now. Yeah, that's nuts.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Oh, that's
They
insane.
killed with
Yeah.
that makeup job.
How long did he have to sit there?
I don't know.
too long.
I'll look it up.
Because between like Fierro and Bach, like that is nuts levels of dedication to the craft. So
I'm not gonna lie, Bach's outfit and makeup kind of took me out of it.
really,
Yeah. I was
okay.
like, oh, this is kind of weird. I don't know about this one, Chief. As a Tin Man.
Yeah. Have you seen pictures of the Tin Man?
I mean, I watched.
OG?
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, it's worlds above that. He looks like a human.
Yeah,
being.
no, but they were doing nods to his original costuming, all that sort of stuff. But like making it more like, okay, this is how a joint would work
Do you
if
know
there's
about-
not necessarily a person inside it.
Do you want to hear a wild production story about the first Wizard of Oz?
Sure. The original Wizard of Oz production was kind of cursed.
Yeah, no, they used. If you want like a better video that will discuss what happened behind that, there's a Caravan of Garbage video that Mr. Sunday Movies made, where he talked about everything that went wrong, from like the Wicked Witch's makeup actually causing her to erupt in flames. There was like an urban myth for a long time that there was a munchkin hanging in the background of one of the sets, but it wasn't. It was just some weird illusion. There's a scene where the Scarecrow in the original movie pulls out a gun. But the thing that's regarding the Tin Man is that the actor who plays the Tin Man in the movie that you can watch now was the second choice, because the first guy, they painted him with actual aluminum.
What?
And he got metal poisoning.
Really?
Yeah, and he got severely sick or died. I can't remember. So they were like, next guy.
Oh my gosh.
What?
I have great news for you, Max. The Scarecrow does pull out a gun in this one.
Oh, hell yeah. No, like in the original, I remember like he would just pull out like a full-on like 22, like just a 22 Magnum, just like, and it's like bizarre because it's like this happy-go-lucky movie. Next thing you know, when the flying monkeys come over, he's just like packing heat, just like, all right.
Wait. That actually happened in Wizard of Oz?
I'm
Yeah.
so confused. When did this happen?
In the original movie, he pulls out a gun, but it's not. It's like this really tiny, like little 22 revolver.
Wait, maybe I should watch the original Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, me too. Is what?
All right, that's been your fun little tidbits with Max.
Thanks,
you,
Max. Appreciate the tidbits.
Unless anybody else has something that they really want to add on to, specifically about part 2.
I thought it completed the story.
I don't like your
Yes.
tone.
Try again. Rewind.
There were some good songs, there were some good moments, but overall, it was a movie that completed the story.
Agreed. Yeah.
I liked Wicked for Good. I thought it tied everything up from the first movie decently well. I think I might have liked the first movie a little bit more than the second movie, but I feel like overall there was a solid and fairly faithful conclusion to the story and the production.
Willow, final thoughts?
I'm so happy that this musical was made into a movie. I was waiting for it since I first heard it when I was in middle school.
Preach.
And they did a beautiful job. Like, the casting was perfect. I had a lot of high expectations. And honestly, for the most part, it exceeded my expectations. So I really can't complain. I enjoyed watching this. I'll watch it with my grandkids.
Yeah, I really like this one. I will definitely be making it part of the musical movies that people have to watch list that I have going. Yeah, I really appreciate that they finally made this into a movie, and I enjoyed it for the most part. There were just like a few things that I'm like, well, that doesn't quite sit right with me, but you know what? It's already made. At least we have a movie now. It is so accessible now that they've made it a movie. Side note, the elitism and classism that is like kind of rampant with musicals and plays right now in like any professional sense is nuts. Why is it $200 to go see a musical? I'm so sorry.
Mhm.
Why on earth? There's no reason for that.
It's absolutely wild. Insane.
Yeah. Artists for the masses, thank you and good day. Well, thank you for joining us if you stuck with us this long. This has been our review of Wicked for Good. We hope that Max watches this movie and that you do too. If only to judge it and leave your thoughts down below on whether we're right or not. And yeah, we'll see you next time. This has been Joelle.
James.
Kerstie.
And Willow.
Max doesn't get to introduce or exit himself.
No,
Nope.
he wasn't officially a part of this, so yeah, bye.